What is up, you guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name's Mackenzie. I'm an artist, and if you're not new, thank you for coming back. So, in today's video, we're going to be doing stained glass grinding bits, different ones, and how to use them. First, please excuse my random, weird, middle of summer sweatshirt. I actually just got a tattoo, and it's covered, so that's what's up with that. Tomorrow's my birthday, and I figured no better way to treat yourself than to a new tattoo. Anyway, today's video, we're going to be doing different types of stained glass grinding bits and how to use them all. I'm going to show you a close-up here in a second before we get started of what each one is and what it does or how you can use it. But if that sounds interesting, let's go. Okay guys, so per usual, I just want to quickly go over the bits I'm going to be demonstrating in today's video, so I can just give you a little bit of a background, I guess, before we actually get into it. So the majority of this video is going to be a voiceover since I'm not going to be able to talk over my grinding. So I just want to touch on these really quickly before we actually get to grinding. So first one up, this is a 1/4 inch grinding bit or a hole bit. And what this is primarily used for is for drilling holes. It's as simple as that. So instead of using, I don't know, you would probably be suggested with an actual screw gun and a glass drilling bit. This is a lot safer. You're not going to risk your glass, and it's a lot easier, and it goes right on your glass grinder. So it's a 1/4 inch bit. It sits right on top, and you'll hold a sponge up against. Again, you'll see it in a second, and it's just simply drills holes directly through the middle of the glass. So this opens up a lot more opportunity as far as what you can make. So instead of cutting something out, I'll be able to drill a hole directly in the middle of a piece of glass for jewelry making or whatever. So your 1/4 inch bit. Next up, these are, I guess, your standard 3/4 inch glass grinding bits. Now, within that umbrella, you also have different grits or different coarseness, just like sanding paper. So while these are both 3/4 inch bits, they're different coarse bits. So this one is a diamond coated or a fast grinding bit or coarse grinding bit. So because I use iridescent and because I make a lot of stained glass, I like to grind and grind quickly. So a diamond coated grinder bit or a fast grinding bit or coarse grinding bit is going to shave a lot more, a lot quicker. But with that, it also can damage the glass. So with iridescent specifically, you might see here in a minute, when I'm grinding the edges with a brand new coarse bit, it can almost chip away chunks off of the edge of the glass. So if I have a brand new bit and I'm running iridescent along that bit, and if I push too hard or hold it the wrong way, if I had a luminescent or certain types of iridescent glass that have a coating on top versus more heavily fused into the glass, I guess. I'm sorry if that's confusing. I don't know how else to describe it. Some iridescent seems to be harder than others. So like with a luminescent glass, luminescent just has a very light top coat iridescent, and these coarse bits can chip away the iridescent off the edges. I wish I had some chipped glass so I could show you exactly what I mean. Let me see if I can find something. Okay, here's a good example. So, do you see that chip right there? That's exactly what a coarse bit can do. So if you're not careful and you're pushing too hard, you hold it the wrong way, or if it's just too coarse of a grit or too coarse of a bit, you can risk chipping away the iridescent. But like I said, there's all different kinds. You don't have to use coarse. Like I said, I just prefer that because it goes a lot quicker. So you have normal 3/4 inch, coarse 3/4 inch, or vice versa. Lastly, our ripple bit. This is what I'm most excited to show you guys because this is something, again, I didn't even know existed until a little while ago. For some reason, people in the stained glass community like to act like there's not enough room for everybody and withhold information. So if it wasn't for Amazon suggestion, I wouldn't have even known what this is. Now, I work with ripple iridescent glass all the time. This is a ripple bit. So just like the name says, it's for ripple glass. Now, you can see the extreme texture on a ripple glass. very bumpy, not smooth whatsoever. So as I'm sure you can imagine, when you go to wrap that glass, you're gonna have a hard time. It's not a smooth surface like normal flat glass is, so this is going to solve that issue. Once you run your glass within this grinding bit, it's going to give you a small surface area to work with that's completely smooth. So that's gonna make your foiling process a whole lot easier. Again, you're gonna see it in action here in a second, but just wanted to go over everything first. Now that we know what these are all called, let's get into it. Okay, so before I do anything, I'm going to take my grinder out of my little grinding box here. When I had posted this on Instagram, everybody was interested in this. All it is a little plastic storage bin. And what I'll end up doing is drilling a hole down in the bottom. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to make a video on it because it would be so quick. But this alone helps contain so much of the glass shards that otherwise would just fly off into your house. Regardless, there's still gonna get some glass shards out and around, but it's a whole lot less to sweep up and vacuum up versus when it's actually not in a bin like this. So I might make a video on this too, not sure yet, but I'm gonna take it out of this bin for the sake of this video. Okay, so before I get into anything, the first thing I need to do is obviously clean out my grinder. Because I usually don't have time after I'm done grinding, I kind of just leave it and always take care of it the very next time before I start grinding glass. So cleaned it out, filled it with fresh water and a new sponge. Okay, so of course, the most important thing is always going to be safety glasses. And personally, beyond safety glasses, I like to use a shower cap. So that protects my hair and kind of my forehead too from all the glass shards that would otherwise get so caught up in my hair. I don't wash my hair every day, so it's easier to just wear a shower cap. Okay, getting into our first grinding bit here. So like I said before, this is our standard grinding bit. This is a 3/4 inch bit, and this is basically your all-purpose grinding bit. I have the same exact one already on the grinder, so it's already good to go, and I'm just lightly pushing the glass up against that grinding bit. This is going to grind all your edges, no matter what the shape is, doesn't matter. This is your standard go-to bit. Now, as you can see, I am very lightly pushing, very lightly being the key word. If you can hear your grinder almost bogging down, or if it shifts in noise whatsoever, you know you're pushing too hard. You just need to guide the glass up against the grinding bit and let the grinding bit actually do the work. And it is as simple as that. That is your standard grinder, standard grinding bit. I just popped that piece of glass right in my bucket of water. Now I'm going to switch out the bit to move on to the next one. Okay, so I just ran to grab a cup of fresh water because you are going to need it close by for the very next bit we're going to use. We're going to be using the whole bit or the 1/4 inch bit. And for that, as you'll see here in a second, you're going to need fresh water very close by to keep soaking your sponge in. Okay, so as you can see here, I soaked that sponge nice and good, turning on my grinder. Now I'm holding this sponge. It's nice and soaked. I'm gonna hold it right up against the grinding bit. So I've got the piece of glass on top. Since this grinding bit has a grinding surface area on top, that's actually what's going to make the hole. So to keep that wet, you've got to keep soaking your sponge and hold it right up against that bit, just kind of like it would normally on your standard bit when it's down in the water basin. So you're kind of essentially doing the same thing, you're just manually holding it. So again, I've re-soaked that sponge, making sure that that bit is nice and wet. It's not going to heat up and it's going to do its job. The drier it is, the harder of a time it's going to have actually grinding through glass. And as you can see, I'm gently wiggling the glass back and forth, kind of helping the bit get through the glass a little bit quicker. I'm not applying a ton of pressure. I am just gently pushing the glass onto the top of the bit, wiggling it back and forth, and it will pop through. Once it does pop through, it's kind of I guess it's kind of scary the first few times you do it because it kind of explodes through the glass. Don't be scared, just hold on to your glass tight, and once it pops through, gently lift it off the bit and shut your grinder off. Okay, so as you just saw, I am pulling out the old sponge and I am trimming a new sponge so it perfectly fits this new ripple bit. So this ripple bit is a lot bigger, it's going to require a lot more water, and it's got grooves inside. So you really want to make sure that you've got a long, big enough sponge that's going to hug every curve and corner of this grinding bit. So again, this is the ripple bit, so I've got a ripple piece of glass here. And the goal is to just thin out these edges and try to make them a little bit more smooth. So come wrapping time with foil, we're going to be able to easily wrap this versus without this kind of grinding bit, it's going to be splitting. You're going to have to patch your foil. This is just going to make it overall a lot easier. So just like before, turning on my grinder, but this bit is no joke. It is intense. As you can see here, I've got dust flying off. My sponge it's not doing its job. So I've got to adjust the sponge, make sure that it's getting wet like it needs to. So I'm turning off my grinder. I'm going to readjust the bit to make sure that it's getting soaked like it properly should. Okay, so like I said, just adjusted that grinding bit. Now we can get into these corners a little bit better. Now, like I said too, this bit is no joke. You've got to hold your glass tight. Obviously, don't cut your fingers, but you've got to have a good grip on it. If you don't, the bit is going to grab your glass and it's going to go flying. So tightly hold your piece of glass, and just like the standard bit, you're just going to run it into that groove, allowing those curved edges to curve into the glass, getting rid of that bulk ripple texture. And then you've got maybe 1/10 of an inch space. That's a lot more smooth, and it's going to make it so much easier to wrap in foil. Okay, so just finishing this piece up. Like I said, just like the standard bit, running along all of my edges, making sure I haven't missed any spots, and gonna dunk it in that fresh, clean water, turn off my grinder, and we've got some nice, smooth edges. This is so much easier to wrap than using a normal grinding bit. This is a game changer, especially if you are using a lot of ripple glass. It's worth it. Alrighty, and that is it. That is today's bits. Okay guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you found it both informational and entertaining. As always, I'm going to link everything I can down below. So all the stained glass grinding bits that I used today, my stained glass grinder. I'm also going to link my Instagram, my online business. So if you want to go check me out over there, please do. And if not, I'll see you next time. Bye. Okay, just kidding. If you want to see this really quick, because if I was watching this video, I'd be like, bitch, what the f***, you're not going to show the tattoo? Ooh, how dope is that? Isn't that, oh, can you guys even see what the fuck I'm doing? So it's all the planets. Shit looks fire. So good. It's getting dark out though, so you can't see it now. All right, for real, bye.